Adventures in the Forbidden Zone. Starring Peter Strauss as Wolf, an intergalactic adventurer, and Molly Ringwald as Nikki.
The hell are you?
What do you think I am, you scrawny earthbag? I'm a woman!
Together, they must enter the deadly Forbidden Zone and rescue 3 beautiful women from the planet's ultimate evil, the Overdog. I like her.
Works every time.
I'll bet breeding with us would kill him.
I'll take that bet.
Columbia Pictures presents an adventure unlike anything you've ever witnessed before. A whole new dimension in excitement. The ultimate experience. The first movie that puts you in outer space. Spacehunter. Adventures in the Forbidden Zone.
You are listening to Moviesucktastic.
Dude, no! Oh!
Oh, shit, son.
Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker.
Yippee-ki-yay, Mr. Falcon.
Motherfucker.
We started watching Die Hard 2 days ago.
We've been holding off.
So, we started that 2 days ago, and we got to the part where he says yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker, and I actually told my wife, she didn't know this, that the dub version of that has some really good ones, like yippee-ki-yay, Mr. Falcon is probably the most famous, I think. Yippee-ki-yay, Mr. Falcon. And the guy delivers it like that too. Mm-hmm. Mr. Falcon. It's fucking funny. Oh my god. So, yet another episode. Moviesucktastic coming at you.
Welcome to Moviesucktastic.
That's right. Oh my god.
Coming at you now from 2 time zones.
That's right.
Sparing no expense.
The Forbidden Zone. I don't know
right.
what these helmets that these chicks, there's a slideshow shot of it now. It just looks like they're wearing helmets. It looks like it's a penis and then a penis coming out of the penis.
Is that the underwater chicks?
The ones that landed on the planet that...
Oh, no. You mean the Go-Go's?
Oh, no. Those were the Amazonian women. I'm talking about,
right.
The 3 chicks that Wolf is trying to rescue so we can get the bounty.
I yanked out the trusty notebook for this one.
And
I'm looking right here. The Go-Go's on Mars? The hell is this?
Oh my god. So fucking bad.
I think it's funny that the 80s idea of future fashion is 80s fashion.
Everything's shiny.
Like,
looks like it's made of aluminum. They all got big hair.
Yeah, they're going to look like any girl band from this period, of course. We are the future. What are you talking about?
But the only thing it missed was just like more belly button. Had they had the cutoff shirt, then it would have been exact 80s Valley Girl type scenario.
Not enough belly button, obviously.
Valley Girl in space.
So if you didn't notice by the trailer at the beginning of the episode, we are reviewing Spacehunter, Adventures in the Forbidden Zone.
Oh man, I wish that's where it ended.
I have not watched this film since it was on cable when I was a child of
Same
the
here.
80s.
We're talking over 30 years for me.
I
remember.
all I remember.
Oh, go ahead. Go
After
ahead.
you. No, after you.
No, I was going to say I remembered really liking this movie as a kid. I remembered liking Michael Ironside as Overdog.
Okay.
And watching it as an adult, I know we'll get to there, but wow, was he so underused in this film. Does not make his first appearance. You do not see him until the 52-minute mark.
But can I say, Michael Ironside has never looked better. Man.
I don't know.
I'll take him in this over Highlander 2 any day.
Well, come on. But wow, a completely underutilized villain. Just, yeah, let's stick him in a machine and have him not move that much. How is this guy ruling anything? How is he the leader of anything?
All right, but I did not remember any. I remember like watching this film as a kid. I wouldn't say I remember enjoying it though. And I didn't remember. All I remembered was Molly Ringwald.
I remember having a huge crush on her in this. Sorry.
We know you got the hots for her. All right, let's just dial that in.
Redhead, come on.
I know. Let's not go there.
No brainer, dude.
Let's not go there.
I'm not going anywhere. I'm right here.
All I remembered was Molly Ringwald.
Yeah.
Apocalyptic wasteland. Death thing, like death battle cage match thing.
Yep.
And that was roughly it. Oh, and water everywhere.
Water everywhere, not a drop to drink.
Right.
The one scene I remember vividly.
I don't understand how it's like the 22nd century, and they're still quoting Coleridge. Really? Really? That's where poetry stopped? I want to know why they still have high school in 2136. The fuck? Was it 2136? Yeah, 2136. That's the year it takes place in.
I remember vividly, and I was like, when is this scene happening? The scene where Molly Ringwald is basically being sexed by Michael Ironside, or as he's known in the film, Overdog. And
Overdog.
It literally happens in the last 10 minutes of the movie, and I remember that scene so vividly. I was
he doesn't sex her.
Well, he's like, "Oh, you and I are going to be close." And she's all she's all drugged out, like she's been given roofies. She's like,
yeah, and she's on the other side of the room. It's about as unsexed as you can get.
No.
He's draining her life.
Yes, I know, but as a kid, I vividly remembered it as him seducing her, and I swear to God, I thought that there was some groping involved with those fucking mechanical hands. And when I'm watching it, I'm like, this is different.
You know what? As a kid, having seen Gwendolyn, this didn't make a scratch. I'm like, whatever.
Oh, no, of course not.
Sex never crossed my mind in this one.
And I remember Wolf giving her a bath. And
he doesn't give her a bath. He forces Molly Ringwald to take a bath.
Yeah, and she's got this, almost wet t-shirt contest thing going on.
Not even close.
No, I mean, there's some bend-over cleavage, just very, very little.
They went out of their way to make it the unsexiest bath ever.
Oh, well, yeah. Well,
although
he's
I do
30
question
and
why,
she's supposed to be 14.
Yeah, but I do question why Wolf has a bottle of shampoo in his holster.
Yeah.
He just yanked that shit out of nowhere. So, whoa.
Can never be too clean.
This guy's prepared for everything.
Yeah.
Except he never takes the keys out of his fucking space truck.
Yeah. And then when someone's trying to steal it, it's like, hey, don't do that. It's even in 2136, you don't leave the keys in a vehicle and the vehicle running.
I want to walk through this film from beginning to end.
Okay.
I know we usually jump back and forth a lot. And we talk about different things. I feel this movie has to be discussed beginning to end.
Okay.
All right. So I want to start with 3D title card. Bow, Spacehunter.
Yeah. Mare actually watched this with me.
Really?
Yeah.
Holly came home halfway through. She's like, I'm not watching that. I'm not turning it off. Whatever.
You know how I sold it to her? I said, I need to watch an 80s film with Molly Ringwald in it.
Oh, you sneaky bastard. Oh, I bet you got the side glance quite a few times.
I mean, I fessed up before we, because obviously she saw me choose the film, and she's like, "What is this?" I go, "It's an '80s film with Molly Ringwald in it." Oh, this is before she was famous. Well, she's second billing, but yeah, this is before she became like the part of the Brat Pack, and yes, really famous. And she was homesick that day, so I was watching it no matter what. Mm-hmm. She didn't have to watch it, but she did. And I had to explain to her, it's like, do you see all this stuff coming at you at the screen? She's like, yeah. I go, this movie was in 3D when it came out in '83. She was like, oh, that makes a lot of sense now. Because there's scenes where guys are like pointing the gun, and it's like they're pointing it and it's getting closer. It's like, yeah, it's because they had that shit. Yeah, exactly, in 3D.
I had one of my young millennial coworkers today, and I explained to them I had to rush home and watch Spacehunter Adventures in the Forbidden Zone because I fell behind, and he's like, I never heard of it. So I told him it was part of the '80s resurgence of 3D film.
Yep.
And his response was, and I'm not making this up, say, I didn't know they had 3D films before the '80s.
That
fucking millennials.
That would have been one of those hold me back scenarios.
I was just like, the migraine's coming on, to stop talking to me. We'll deal with it later. I was like, dude, the 30s they had fucking. Oh,
Jesus Christ! I remember having to go to a 7-Eleven and buying a pair of 3D glasses to watch the Vincent Price film. They were showing it for Halloween. It was black and white, but it was in 3D, and it was pretty good 3D, too.
See, I remember doing it for the 3D version of the Swamp Thing. Not Swamp Thing.
No.
Creature from the Black Lagoon.
Yes, I remember doing it for that, too. One of my earliest memories is for, what the hell was it?
If that's Vincent Price, I'm sure it was the Mad Hypnotist.
Yeah, that was the one. Yeah, because there's a scene where he's like, something like a saw is coming down and it's creating like sparks or wood chips, and it looked like it was falling into your living room.
I just remember tapping out on that one after the Chinese yo-yo to the screen. Ooh. I was like, all right.
Yeah. I remember.
The fact that I know what a Chinese yo-yo is at this age, I don't want to see this anymore.
Yeah. No, that is the film. That is the film.
Yeah.
Because it had a lot of cheap 3D tricks.
Really? Yeah. It's like, I was like, dude, the Three Stooges had a 3D film. Would you? How are you like?
And that Vincent Price film, that was like 40s, early 50s, somewhere around there. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So fuck that guy. I'm sure he's very nice, but he could also go fuck himself.
No, he's a cool guy. No,
I'm joking.
I know.
That, you know that I'm joking.
In case they tune in, they know I have a podcast.
Then fuck them for sure.
No, wow.
I'm joking. Relax. I'm sure they're very lovely.
It's like I put up a picture of the Heat Miser for Christmas on my board, and not one person. Everybody, what is that? Like a demon? Oh, the Heat Miser.
Speaking of demon, did you watch the new Hellboy trailer yet?
No, I have not.
Oh, okay. Because I figured we'd get that out of the way. Talk about it.
Nope, nothing out of the way.
Okay, all right, fine.
All right, so let's start with Spacehunter 3D title card. Followed by Breaking Through Steel, by the way.
Yeah.
Just to prove how awesome it is.
Yeah.
Then, immediately after that,
Adventures.
3D subtitle. What the fuck are we doing?
And it's just a little rip-off of Superman, but not quite. They didn't have the budget for that.
A little? Well, then we have like the stars coming at us during the opening credits.
That is pretty much I have a Rocks screensaver. It's the exact same thing.
And the minute the title came up, and Michael Ironside as Overdog, like, I'm home. This is going to be fun. I don't care how bad this film is. This is going to be. Michael Ironside never fails to impress.
No, I like her. It's like, oh god.
Let's not get that far. But so it starts off with the spaceship flying through space with and apparently, even though it's like 2136, even space pilots still, as I say, out of the right side, you'll see the rings of Saturn and a red dwarf falling into a supernova. On the left side, you'll see space. And And all right, I want to know who booked the flight between two planets that goes between two suns. Who booked that
My
flight?
mother-in-law, because it was the cheapest one possible.
And now, as we go through as we fly between these two suns, we have the honor, the fortune to watch bolts of plasma fly back and forth at a dangerous. Oh, look, we've been hit.
And then there's Harold Ramis doing the voiceover to talk to Wolf, saying, "Oh yeah, your rent's overdue." And,
no, you jumped ahead. The ship starts exploding, and they tell people to go to their escape pods. And as far as I can tell, only one that gets out.
Yeah, is the one with the 3 hot chicks.
And I would put good money that the escape pods are only for first class.
Yeah, it must be.
If you're riding coach, you're really fucked. If you're in coach, the doors the airlocks have already slammed down. Please enjoy the rest of your flight to hell. It's not. Yeah, they're not getting the gold Barbarella suits flying onto the nearest star. They're just like, yeah, you're going down with the ship.
Yep.
There's no captain. It's automatic pilot. You're fucked.
Yeah, and then they land on this planet also known as Arizona. And
What?
what? The movie was filmed in Arizona with a red filter. That is my challenge to you from Time Rider, because it was filmed in generally the same area as Time Rider. That is the connection for my challenge. It just because I remember I was saying I was watching Time Rider. I'm like, this feels a lot like Spacehunter, and I looked up the locales. This movie was filmed about a half an hour from where Time Rider was filmed, and it's like, Jesus Christ, it's all the same fucking area. That's it. They might have went to an area of Arizona that has a few more mountains, but that's about it, to try and make it almost look like a Martian-esque type planet. Mm-hmm. So they land on that planet, and they immediately are chased by these like mutant type people, and
it's always
progeria
like
kids.
Part savage. Yeah, they're
have
always
like
savages, but they have like plastic on them. It's
have
always
like
the same fucking thing.
Yeah, and they have these people that look like they have progeria, like running after them too. Ooh. The disease. There's a disease called progeria.
Okay.
It's actually a really horrible disease.
I thought that was like you tell a lie on the stand.
That's. I'm not going to warrant that with a response.
Of course not.
I was about to, and I was like, I'm not doing that. I think I'm pronouncing it like progeria. Anyway, so it's like all these mutant type people and whatnot, and they get abducted by Overdog's people, and the chemist basically tells them that they are going to be happy, and Overdog needs them.
Now there's some. Normally, I hate when they give too much backstory.
Right.
In this case, I feel like they glossed over it. Now, there's very briefly in the beginning, they show a picture on the screen, and we go because we end up in Wolf's ship where Harold Ramis gives him his to-do list.
Yeah.
Pay your parking tickets, pay your ex-wife,
your rent.
pay your rent, that kind of stuff. And then like this emergency thing comes in about the missing girls. Well, then his sex spot, and why? It's a sex spot, first of all.
Well, it really is, and here's the thing with Harold Ramis doing that. The voiceover for that. This is produced by Ivan Reitman. Harold Ramis and Ivan Reitman already had a relationship from Stripes, which was done, like 2 years prior and whatnot. So, and also from Harold Ramis being one of the voiceover actors in the animated film Heavy Metal, which also was produced by Ivan Reitman. And it's so this is like Ivan Reitman's people all over this movie, because even the music is done by one of Ivan Reitman's guys who also did the music for Heavy Metal. And the reason I had to look it up, I actually texted Scott and I'm like, shit, the music sounds so fucking familiar. It sounds like Heavy Metal to me. So I went and I looked it up, and yeah, it's the same guy that did the music for Heavy Metal. He did it for this too. And the music that sounds the most specific to this movie is the animated part of Heavy Metal, which is done with the voiceover work with John Candy, Den. It is literally the exact same. It's like he recycled that music from heavy metal and tweaked it a little and did it for Spacehunter because it is fucking identical. It is like just tweaked. That's really all it is. It is fucking identical. So, and then you got Harold Ramis doing the voiceover and going into the ship where you see Wolf like kind of lounging, and then you see what is a pod that he's in, which is just being spun in a circle because you can see through the window. There's no glass there. It's a fucking set on the other side that's supposed to be to replicate like space garbage or a satellite or something.
And
the movie cost $15 million.
Yeah, you know how much those 3D cameras cost?
Alien cost less. All right, and it was only made like 4 years earlier. So it's fucking $15 million. That's a lot of fucking money for 1983.
Alien wasn't in 3D, and Alien didn't have Amazon underwater chicks. So let's just stop right there.
It didn't,
and it didn't have Metal Ironside.
Metal Ironside.
Yeah, that's what I'm calling them. You can deal with it, or you can not like it.
No, it's if we want to call him. Well, you can call him Metal Ironside.
I want to call him
which makes
Underdog.
sense because he did the voiceover work in Heavy Metal 2000.
Now, before we get too far into the film,
rooting for that bad guy in there.
And before we get too far into it, the film was originally the director originally attached to it was
Lamont Johnson.
No, the original director.
Oh, the original. No, I don't know this.
All right, Gene LaFleur. He has one of the story credits. It was originally his thing. It was a post-apocalyptic film called Adventures in the Creep Zone.
Oh.
Because Michael Ironside's character was originally like under creep or super creep or something like that.
Okay.
All right, and so what happened is Ivan Reitman gets involved. And he says, "Hey, we don't want to get confused with Mad Max 2. So instead, what he wants to do is capitalize on Star Wars: Return of the Jedi coming out that year."
As a matter of fact, I looked it up. Ivan Reitman, not a good decision maker because he released this film on May 20th, and Return of the Jedi came out May 25th. It's like,
well, he purposely did that because he wanted to jump in and he wanted to capitalize on the hype of space epic things.
Well, I mean, the movie made $16 million, so it made back the money they spent, so it broke even. Mm-hmm. But if he really wanted to do it the right way, he should have released the film a couple of weeks early, because the second Jedi comes out, this movie isn't making any fucking money.
I don't think they were looking past opening weekend, Joey.
Even back then, where it's like, okay, Jedi sold out, let's see Spacehunter. It made $16 million, so I guess it took advantage of some of that.
He just wanted to ride the wave. Opening weekend is the only time you really make mad bucks on films. That's it. Wow. So, I don't think it was a bad decision. I just think it was strange. Well, he knew that the Mad Max stuff wasn't really catching on as quickly as Star Wars. So, and there had been no and also Ivan Reitman says, "Hey, wait a minute, there have been no sci-fi 3D films. They're all like horror films and stuff. Let's make this 3D too." And I think so. We'll make it 3D, and they switched it from, instead of being on Earth, they made it a space opera. They switched it up a bit.
I think Road Warrior didn't it come out in '81, so it came out a couple of years earlier.
Right, they didn't want to look like it because it was out.
That's hard. That's what. The second that you set yourself in a desert-esque locale with like big vehicles and motorcycles and stuff like that, you're ripping off Mad Max.
Well, but that's why they decided to try to make it a space epic and do it. It actually feels like a cross between Mad Max and Krull,
which also came out in 1983.
So, there you go. So it's got that kind of. It's got the same kind of story arc.
The movies that came out that summer, I'm not going to go through them, but like in the month of May, you had films like Dr. Detroit, Blue Thunder, Spacehunter, Jedi, and Chained Heat. That's your May, like as far as your big films.
What more do you need in May?
June was even better. Man with Two Brains, Psycho 2, War Games, Trading Places, and the number 2 film of the year, Octopussy, at 187 million. Yeah. Oof. And what's even crazier than that, I didn't realize this. Never Say Never, because that was Roger Moore. That came out in 1983, came out June of 83, made $187 million. Never Say Never Again with Sean Connery also came out in 1983, but just a few months later, like in December.
Right, because that wasn't an official James Bond film.
No, not December. It came out, correct, but he's still playing James Bond in that.
Well, yeah. But
that made $160 million. So James Bond that year alone made like $340 million. 2 James Bond films. One affiliated, one unaffiliated.
I don't know about either of those.
It's craziness.
Yeah.
How did they get that done? How did they get that done? 2 James Bond films, one actually being produced by the studio, the other one not affiliated, but also still able to keep the moniker James Bond.
I have no idea because I'm still trying to talk about Spacehunter.
Sorry.
That's okay.
Sorry, not sorry.
All I was trying to get at was that this is a film that was retooled, and then after a couple of weeks of filming,
right,
like basic filming, they didn't like LaFleur's filming style. And they didn't like what he was doing. LaFleur was trying to mimic Mobius, the French artist.
That would have been better.
And you could actually see some of those influences, some of the vehicle designs and stuff like that. But they kind of decided, and I think rightfully so, that 80s America was not ready for Mobius. And they didn't like how he was filming some scenes, so they yanked him, and then they put in Lamont Johnson.
I'm looking at his...
Who scaled...
Go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was saying Lamont Johnson scaled it down, but also had his designing crew just... Like, pretty much... He followed the idea of making it wacky, but instead of Mobius stuff, it's things like pirate trains.
Right. So I'm looking at this, and I'm looking at Jean Lafleur, like the other things that he did. He did a TV series called The Smoggies in 1989. They had a 6-year hiatus between Spacehunter and that. And then, I mean, his last name is Lafleur, so I'm not surprised he did a film called, or wrote a film called The Mystery of the $1 Million Hockey Puck. But he did this documentary short from 1995 to 1996, and there's like 15 of them. And then he wrote The Lost World, the sequel to Jurassic Park. He penned that. And I guess he made so much fucking money writing that, he hasn't written anything since 1998.
Like, fucking, I'm done.
I guess so.
And all I'm going to say about Lamont Johnson is that he's also directed one of my favorite direct-to-video shoot-'em-up films. Wait, hold on. No, he didn't.
No, he didn't.
No, I'm thinking of one of the writers. Never mind. I'm not even going to go that far.
Okay.
Anyway. But that's where I was getting at with. I just wanted to cover, the director. It was, they jumped around a bit. They changed the location. So the film went through a lot of rewriting and switched from regular to 3D before they actually started filming.
That's crazy.
I think Johnson only had like a week or two before he was, before he had to start filming going in. So he had to really jump on and change things.
They had to retool how, like, what scenes were going to be in 3D and how they were going to do it and everything.
Well, also they were just changing the entire approach because, like I said, LaFleur was going for a more Mobius thing, and they thought it was too busy, so they scaled down the production values and made it like less grand and more gritty.
Now,
making it more like a Mad Max film.
Right. Now, I know this is something that's going to happen later in the show, and I know we're not actually going to review your challenge to me, because we're going to do the January films and, Oscars and all that. But at some point, the challenge you give me this episode, we will do. Do you have a challenge in mind? Because if you don't, I have 2 great ones that
all right, let's hear yours. No, at the end we'll hear.
No, we'll do it later. We'll do it later.
Yes. So
but I have
so
two
we
great
got
ones.
to the point. We got to the point where we were introduced to Wolf's sex bot.
Yeah.
That he also makes do tech support and other odd jobs.
Yeah.
And I'm honestly, that's the way they introduce her. That's the only way you're going to describe that thing to me as a sex bot.
So the first words out of her mouth is, "I require 4 hours of downtime." And
Right.
then the second she said that, I'm like, "This is a robot."
Well, oh yeah, obviously.
Yeah.
And like when she goes to fix, he's like, "Didn't I tell you to? Aren't you supposed to fix that?" It's like every time I try to start fixing it, you won't let me finish. It's like because he sexes her, because she's a sex bot, but she's also doing manual labor because he's a dick.
He's a space douche.
So they find a so during that scene though they have a brief thing that comes up and they mention something about Michael Ironside's character. It's like, oh yeah, they ended up on the planet. They haven't been seen since, and there's a plague. And it's like, all right, can we go into further detail? No. Sex bot, get on the truck, we're going. And they keep mentioning throughout the film that like there's like a plague of some kind.
Right. And even Molly Ringwald refers to getting a cure for it.
Right, but then I'm like, but how is the cure being distributed? It's very vague. If she's not part of that city, how did she get the cure? Why? What's the exact plague? Because we're seeing all signs of wacky shit. It's not like one uniform illness. What's going on? But now, don't worry about it.
Yeah, no, don't worry about it. You kind of get the impression that her family was involved in trying to get the cure or were responsible for the cure because of the way she says, oh, my mom, she used to, she was a scientist or whatever, something along those lines, and I can get the cure for you. Obviously, everyone that she knows is dead, and she's lying. So
for someone who just landed on a planet that's notorious for having the plague, he doesn't seem concerned.
No, not at all.
So it doesn't seem to be airborne either because he's not sick.
Nope, nobody is, except for Overdog somehow and his chemist.
I don't. Well, there were other people that varying illnesses.
Well, I mean, major
the scabbers
players
didn't look too good.
No, major players for the film. There, other than Overdog and the chemist, everyone looked normal.
I think they. Well, no, there are a lot of unnormal people. We'll cover them. But I feel it's almost like they try to use the chemist to explain that. Oh yeah, we like say yeah, he made different crazy kind of things, like a Herman Goring kind of not Goring.
I know who you're thinking.
The other one.
Yeah.
The twin guy.
Yeah, and let's not hold up the show because unless we look it up. But
no. Nazi medical experiments. That's all you need to know.
Yeah, and I'm like just trying to remember his name, and you're killing me.
I don't care. It's a Nazi. We shouldn't be memorializing them. Fuck that.
That's right. So once Wolf is there and he's trying to find these three girls, he comes across this.
Hold on. Go
ahead.
Where is it? Oh, by the way, one note I made when we were in Wolf's ship is duct tape on a spaceship is never a good sign. So they get in the 3D space truck, and I have two quick problems on their way to what we're going to talk about next. Is in one moment, in one brief scene, he says, load and lock. Like, hold on a second. Hold on a second. We still have Coleridge being quoted, and we're still mentioning Saturday Night Football. Don't ask me how that's still a fucking thing. But lock and load became load and lock.
Yeah.
That's sloppy. That's very, very sloppy. And then after that, she says, you know, we're only down to 4 star clips? Star clips? Really? It's like someone fell asleep at the wheel for a moment. It's like, oh, we were coming up with names and then unobtainium. What? Star clips. Just fuck it. They're star clips. I guarantee it was space clips in the script. So with that space clips, that sounds stupid.
Right.
Star scripts. There, I fixed it.
And money was referred to as what were the mega
some shit. Yeah.
It was like it was like mega something.
But it's all right. Yeah. It's like if we called $1 million mega dollars. Right. Like it's $1 mega. No, we're not doing that.
Yeah, fucking Bitcoin.
Is that the space jargon is fleeting but annoying at the same time.
Oh yeah.
So then I have in my notes after that, Really? Space pirates? So your first sign that we're not in Kansas anymore is they come across a giant train bed that's dressed up like a pirate ship.
Right.
And then they're attacked by black motorcycles, and then they have a Roman candle fight.
It's for a movie that cost $14 million. I don't see a lot of production that would get me to the 14 million. I just don't see enough. Yeah, it has some sets and things like that, but something tells me they overpaid for a lot of
3D cameras.
Jaws 3D came out in 1983 as well.
It cost them $2,000 just to fit theaters with the proper lenses to show the stupid movie.
Really?
Yeah, that's true.
Jesus Christ.
So Wolf, being the space hunter that he is, leaps into the battle. Turns out that the three chicks were on that train, but the black motorcycle people take them away with fucking space hang gliders.
Oh yeah, and they had this
holy shit,
like smoke trail coming out of the back of it because it would look even more dumb if it didn't. If that makes any sense.
All right. Tell me you were on the same page. I'm watching this. I'm like, yeah, okay, whatever. Blah, blah, blah. They grab the girls and they grab their head and go. Holy shit!
The second
did they just kill that chick?
Mare, the first thing out of her mouth was they just fucking broke her neck.
Yeah, and then they did the other one.
And I told her, I said, listen, this movie, they don't know what they're doing. So I told her, I go, obviously they're not dead. Because there's a whole storyline and a plot revolving around the rescue of these three girls. I said they totally ripped off. They totally ripped off Star Trek and tried to do a Vulcan neck pinch of some sort, and I said they did not break their necks, even though that is the exact motion of breaking someone's neck.
The sound, it went, yeah. It was like whoa, what happened here? And I was like, all right, maybe I watched that wrong. And they do it to the second one. I was like, no, they broke the neck. They broke the neck. The fuck.
And I guess for what Overdog actually needs them for, as long as they're breathing, it would have been fine if they broke the neck. As long as they're still alive. But no, they're fine. They were fine.
Right. So after the girls are taken away, Spacehunter's yelled at for helping them,
right?
And then he finds his sex bot was shot dead, and then I have another question. Why?
Awful.
What?
That scene looked awful. They did some sort of like split screen with like electronics on her one side of the face, and they split it. What?
I just need an explanation as why his sex bot has a self-destruct option. Why does the sex bot need a self-destruct option? And why is it on a walkie-talkie? What the fuck?
And why does it have to fucking melt to the point of where it was fucking disturbing how the face was caving in when it was melting? Think of the things he did to that face.
What if that thing went off while he was like sexing it?
Yeah, right.
Well, if I had a sex bot, I think the last thing I'd want it is like, and this is the self-destruct button. Whoa! You can disable that right now.
No need for that. If it gets destroyed or shot at or whatever, it doesn't feel anything. It's fine. We don't need to do any of that. Oh, there's the sex bot. So when she comes out of bed, it looks like she just got out of the shower because her hair is all wet and slicked back. But I guess that's how she looks always.
Oh yeah, it's sex bot again. It's even later. But later it comes up. It's like, I'm going to get me two of them, twins. It's like, all right, there's no way it's not a sex bot. They're not saying sex bot because they want to like try to get a PG rating.
Right.
But that's a sex bot.
It's totally a sex bot. Had like a Rick and Morty flashback there.
It's like Cherry
2000.
Ooh, Cherry 2000, yeah.
Yep.
Sorry, excuse me there. So he takes off to try to find the Forbidden Zone. He sees some two mounds of cement and decides, hey, I should check those out.
Well, no, you're missing the part where he came across that group of people with the old guy.
That was the space pirate ship.
Yeah, but you missed the part where he is yelling at Wolf, calling him Michael Ironside's real name. I forget what it is. But he was like, you and I, blah, 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 we were both scientists. So you get a little backstory on Michael Ironside about how he was, at one point or another, a scientist, probably contributed to, trying to cure the plague and maybe even, made it worse because obviously the way he looks. Because he was probably trying to cure the plague and got fucked up, and that's why he looks the way he does in the film.
Again, I always complain about films that try to over-explain shit you don't need, so I can't complain about this film not having enough. But you know what? If you're not going to give us enough, don't give me any. I don't need the old man giving plot tips, because that's the last one you're going to get. Yeah. So why even bother?
And they kind of really don't...
He could think like he's his son for all I care.
Yeah,
at that point.
They don't really
no bearing on it.
They don't really talk about it more after that. The only thing that's even mentioned later is that Michael Ironside, Overdog, says that he needs, quote unquote, needs these women because he's really fucking old and he needs their essence.
Well, basically, that's any guy. I don't know what you're talking. I don't understand the difference.
It's the equivalent of,
it's the equivalent of any man.
It's the equivalent of bathing in, a virgin's blood to try and stay young. But for the future,
or just old guys screwing young girls. I'm not trying. I don't see the need to go beyond that.
No,
just pretty much thumbs it up.
It's oof. I'm there. But that's all you get. You don't get anything else.
So why give me that much? Just fuck it. Just embrace the madness, which I eventually kind of do in this film. At a certain point, I'm like, roll with it.
Roll. I don't know if I can roll with it.
So when he decides to look into the giant concrete dome, because I don't know, maybe it looks like a breast, and we get the 3D hero fall. Oh,
yeah, it's like, oh, maybe there's sex spots in there.
And then this fucking genius doesn't take the keys out of his space truck, and Molly Ringwald tries to steal it.
Right,
which
she almost
I
does
can't tell how
too.
many times. Every time I leave my keys in my car, Molly Ringwald tries to steal it. It's just a thing.
She's on hard times right now. She's on hard times right now. It's to be expected.
Right. So they team up because why not?
Why not?
And then
they team up because she says she can get him to the Forbidden Zone. She knows where it is.
Right. Because we need that thing it's a story.
Well, he lost his sex
arc
bot. He lost his sex bot, so he needs a new female in some way.
And he's a loner. By the way, in case you didn't catch it, his name's Wolf, Lone Wolf, Han Solo. You get it?
I got it.
On here?
I got it.
Right?
Yep.
And so when they stop for the night, and that whole hot dog thing, I'm like, square hot dogs. We are in the future.
Futuristic hot dog.
Inflatable. I didn't do a futuristic thing because it's also space stuff like space truck and space hang gliders. I'm gonna fucking kill you, Cat. I'm gonna kill you.
The thing with the square hot dog, because I saw that, and I just lean over the mirror. I'm like, why would they ever even attempt to make that a different way? Why bother?
Storage.
No.
Easy to store them.
No, it takes up more circumference. It being square.
No, there's less wasted space because they're square. You have round hot dogs. You have all that wasted space in them. You're maximizing your space. You're flying through space. You don't have a lot of storage area. I think it makes perfect sense.
I'm not buying that at all. Don't kill your cat.
I'm gonna fucking kill it. It's my fault for hanging shit on the doorknob too. I don't know why I did that.
What the fuck did you do that for?
I had to put Loafman somewhere.
You eventually have to show our audience the damn cat because they just don't believe that you have one at this point.
I don't care what they believe. I don't believe in them.
Don't say that about our audience. They're better than that.
I don't believe that. I don't think they're real.
You don't think so?
No. I've never. No.
No. There's medication for that.
If they called more, maybe I would.
Nobody calls. We're a disposable show. They listen. They wait for the next one. Wait for the next one.
So when Wolf wakes up in the morning and finds Molly Ringwald sleeping next to him, he decides to give her a bath or force her to have a bath. And that's when he pulls out the shampoo holster. Bam! And I'm going to let this fucking thing out. You talk for a second.
Okay. What's interesting, I briefly looked at the goof part where Molly Ringwald is like spooning with Wolf there. Her hand is draped over his shoulder. And one of the goof things that they said, which I noticed after I read it. I was like, oh yeah.
I told that kitty to mosey on down.
Mosey on down the road. Mosey on down. Mosey on down the road. Mosey on down the road.
No, it's ease on down. Don't start that.
Oh, that's right. It is Ease on Down. God, I haven't seen The Wiz in like a million years.
Oh yeah. Fuel.
I was saying I saw one of the goofs. They have a section for goofs for this film, and I saw one of the ones very briefly, and it was the scene where Molly Ringwald is spooning with Wolf because her hand is draped over him. And it said that in the next shot he makes her take a bath and get clean, and that she's filthy. And it says that you could clearly see that she had a fresh manicure. Because her hand is draped over, and it's obviously you could see that she's had a fresh manicure, even though she's supposed to be
French manicure.
I don't know if it was French, but definitely a manicure.
Okay.
French fries.
And that, of course, is when they bump into Ernie Hudson.
No.
Why are you in here, Mister? I guess fill in for Lando Calrissian. No.
Oh my God! Watch your women.
Was that pre or post? That was pre Ghostbusters, right?
Yeah, it was 1 year early. He did Ghostbusters the following year. Also an Ivan Reitman guy, because Ivan Reitman got him to be in Ghostbusters in 1984.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, a lot of Ivan Reitman people in this.
So they meet briefly. It turns out Wolf knows him. So after a brief scuffle, they ditch the black man and head on out.
Yeah,
and then they decide to crash in this big place that smells like dead people, and they stayed anyway.
Yeah.
And that's where they are attacked by giant babies. This is where
I was able to find some screenshots of people outside of these costumes. And it's in the slideshow, and it's like, Jesus Christ, these costumes are horrifying.
This is where I began to love this movie. I got to tell you, it hit a certain point where I actually it was like, am I high? No, I'm not. No, I'm definitely not high. Why am I seeing this? What's going on? It's just so fucking... And it's not even when the giant babies... They find the giant babies like in weird hanging diaper cribs.
It's almost like they're being born.
Yeah, but then as soon as they wake up and attack, they're everywhere.
Yeah,
and then but it's when Space Wolf and Molly Ringwald slide, and I'm only calling her Molly Ringwald. I refuse to use any other name. They slide down to the truck, and the giant babies start coming after them, and they're sliding through these tubes in the walls. They go.
They like trying to break through like the grate in the ground.
And
that was
big,
a 3D
giant,
shot.
Squishy mutant babies.
Yeah.
They're like the giant babies from Nothing But Trouble.
Nothing But Trouble.
Except worse.
It was
but they're worse.
Bigger version. Yeah, right. It was like a bigger version of the baby from Brain Dead or Dead Alive.
I think
similar to that.
I like to think of them as a cross between the giant babies from Nothing But Trouble and what was I going to say? I just had it right in my mind. It was a perfect cross. It was between them and Ed Raimi in the grandma costume from Evil Dead 2.
Oh God, yeah.
Dead by Dawn, and then mix those two together, and that's what is coming at you in the scene.
I remember listening to the audio commentary, the red disc, for Evil Dead 2. And I never noticed it until I heard it in the commentary, where he's in that costume.
I always saw that, and I always thought that was like something they did on purpose. Like, oh yeah, that's like Liquid Evil leaving her butt. No, that was sweat.
It was sweat, and it was viscous and oh God, I'm getting nauseous. Just even. No. Oh God. I'm just seeing it now, and now it's just so gross.
Holly watched it with me with the audio commentary. We were discussing it. She's like, "Really?" And she's like, "Wait, watch for it." She's like, Arr! She had the same reaction you did.
It's just pouring out of a perfect like stream of just out of his ear or the side piece of the costume. So fucking disgusting.
So So after the giant baby attack, they drive further, and then they try to go through some weird underground water place, and then they meet Amazon mermaids. And at that point, I'm like, fuck it, why not?
The fucking
Why not?
Amazonian mermaid. It's like, you couldn't handle mating with us.
No,
So I'll
even
take my
before that,
chances.
the line before that said, "Good breeding man." We're done. You're not going to top that.
No.
That's it. Just with a, and you know what? The costumes weren't that bad.
No.
Now I don't understand why they would try to trap them underwater, because that would probably kill them. You can't really breed with a corpse.
Nope.
And I'm not sure why the mer women were afraid of the water snake, because I'm assuming they live in the same water.
They live in the same water, and fucking Wolf took care of the fucking water snake like it was his job.
Just took one shot from the Roman candle.
Yeah, and it was just like, well, what's wrong with these chicks? They can't do the same thing?
And dude, that thing exploded like it was drinking gasoline. So I don't know what the fuck is up with that snake.
Yeah, that was a terrible prosthetic too. It was like really, really bad. Like $14 million, and that's the best we can come up with. Come on, fucking stop it now.
Those cameras cost money.
Oh, there was a shot on the screen just now of Molly Ringwald with all kinds of like war paint makeup from Spacehunter, but you don't ever see her like that in the movie. So I don't know if that was just a promotional still where the makeup team did something like that just for a promotional still or just a shot, or if that was in the film and it was cut. It's on the cutting room floor.
I can't think of what part of the film that would be from, unless there was like a whole extra scene that they just like completely, where they came across, Mad Max's crew or something.
Who knows? Maybe it was a flashback before she became a loner. I don't know.
Again, after Giant Mutant Babies, I'm like, okay, throw anything you got, we'll do it. So they do the Amazon thing. They end up escaping and walking across this water wasteland, and we get the Coleridge quote. And again, I don't know why in 2,136 they even have high school, let alone are still teaching Coleridge in it. Don't get me wrong, I love the Rhyme of the Ancient Mariner, but still, really that far in the future, there's no other poets that kind of like transcended that.
And they have to go so far as to have him say the line, and then she's like, I don't have to be a scientist or brainjack or a genius, something along those lines, that I know that stuff is poison. He goes, that's what I just said. So they had to go that far too.
It's kind of, and that's why the whole setup's there. Obviously, it's for the joke. And
of course,
all right. We're at this point, we're dedicated to her being the smart mouth young kid and him being the I don't know. That whole May December thing, and so then they just before they're about to die of thirst, Winston shows up, towing their car.
Winston.
They decide to split the money and travel forward. On their way to the Forbidden Zone,
the thing
they
is,
camp.
I'm sorry, Winston thinks he has the upper hand in that moment because he thinks he's doing them a favor by rescuing them with, like he has water and whatnot, and. You come to find out that he needs Wolf to fly them out of there, so that's how Wolf got the 50-50, because he was still trying to offer like a 70-30 kind of deal. Go ahead.
No, that's yeah. That's the money split at that point. And on their way to the Forbidden Zone, they decide to camp out in a valley of where people discard their garbage. And while they're there, they meet up with two of the obnoxious guys from the pirate train, and then they're attacked by mutant children throwing bombs.
Yeah.
And, dude,
that's the Progeria kids.
That was fucking creepy. And they come out doing like the cry from 2001. Oh. And they got the weird child masks on, and they got the little stubby arms with the
Progeria. Dude, look it up. I mean, it's like they were. I'm just saying, it's like it's a horrible disease, and it looked like.
That's why they make you swear on a Bible when you take the stand.
It's like they decided to say, hey, what's a terrible disease? Oh, that one. Let's make these people look like that. And it's like that's really messed up.
Isn't there like a like a doll face disease? Because that's what those kids had.
I thought it was more the progeria disease. That's what it looked like to me more.
All right.
Anyway, so yeah, then they had to get the hell out of Dodge, and in the process, ruining or having to fix Winston's vehicle
Every 15 minutes
again.
they're fixing a vehicle. Come on.
It's just like, what are we doing here?
Hey, how come we didn't bring the sex bot along? She could have fixed this shit for us.
Yeah, no, you had to self-destruct. I mean,
wait.
And it was like,
Melted her.
like you can't get parts. He goes, that was the best model they ever made. It's like, you can't get parts for this somehow?
The head's not detachable? Come on.
It's 2136, and you're telling me you can't fix that? You can't take that somewhere and get it fixed?
It's 2136. Why is he got a walkie-talkie sized detonation button for her?
And why does he even have it with him? Wouldn't it be on his fucking ship?
You never know when you have to self-destruct your sex bot. I've always said that.
Always? Yeah. I've heard you say it. Heard you say
it.
Yeah.
So they get out of Dodge and go to the Forbidden Zone.
Yeah. She gets
really
them there. And now,
which is really,
we're like we finally get to see fucking Overdog at this point. It's like almost an hour.
All right. Okay. It's like, I was about to correct you, say it's Underdog. It's like, no, you're right. It's Overdog. Underdog is a totally different thing.
Yes.
And the whole the Forbidden Zone is really Underdog's pleasure dome.
That's all it is.
It's just everything I want to happen. Make it so. Bring me the girl. Undress her for me slowly. It's like, It's like they took the scene with Ming the Merciless from Flash Gordon, where he's like caressing Dale from a distance, and said, "Yeah, how can we make that creepier? Let's give him metal claws and make the guards undress her." Got it? Yeah, great. and Michael Ironside's got the bald head and the metal teeth, and he's like a half man with the bellows on his chest. The best part of that thing is the bellows.
Yeah.
And like a hole where his dick should be. Just they're just selling the point that he's like emasculated. It's just a hole there. Like there's it's almost like he's a woman at that point.
Yeah, it's just pieces of him left.
Yeah, and he's on this giant crane and it swings him around. And Michael Ironside gets spend the whole movie like strapped into this thing, just like waving his arms. Let the games begin.
Put them in the maze.
Undress the girl.
It's like, I like her for the maze.
You can't tell me Ironside wasn't having the time of his fucking life.
Well, I bet he was. That's why I said he was very underutilized.
I should be doing every movie in like a giant thing like this. And when I saw his name in the opening credits, my brain started going. I was immediately like, oh, please don't tell me that Ironside's going to have like a 10-minute monologue where he explains. So I go, so this is why I'm here. And this is like, oh, this is going to be so. No, they didn't. Michael, you've got 12 lines. And you know what? You're going to repeat a bunch of them. Don't worry about
Here's
it.
Here's a DVD box art of Ironside where he's got his mouth like half crooked to the side, where he's just kind of going like...
Oh, that one shot.
Where he's like...
Yeah.
Almost like Gary Busey-ish, where he's like... I
remember that one shot where he starts coming in and his mouth's like... It's like, I think Mike's having a stroke. Is he okay up there?
One of the DVDs has that shot of him on the back. It's just like... Why would they use that shot? It almost looks comical in a still frame.
You know why? Because the minute you mentioned it, I was like, I remember that part. That's buried in my subconscious now. Yeah,
it's there forever.
Fucking rough.
Yeah. Ooh. So, you okay?
Yeah.
Had a little too much Tex-Mex today, maybe?
No, it's just too much liquids. I think I'm just drinking too much.
I've been drinking water for like the last 2 hours because I had some really good sharp provolone at dinner tonight. And that shit's salty.
Ah.
But it's really good. And let me tell you something. From now on, 2 pieces of provolone for me from now on. Because my stomach, oh boy, not good. Not good. Anyway.
So they break into the pleasure dome. And they witness what's basically a giant death maze that Michael Ironside under Overdog keeps making people go through until they die. What would you compare? What other movie would you compare that whole death maze to?
The Death Maze.
I was having trouble giving it holding up another example. It's like it's kind of Saw-ish, but it's not really Saw as much as they had something similar in
maybe
the TV show of The Purge, the first season.
Yeah, maybe Running Man-ish. It's kind of
Running
similar
Man.
to that.
Kinda, but less trappy.
Yeah,
More trappy. Running Man was less trappy.
Less trappy in Running Man, but
Yeah.
trying to have to get through like a maze type scenario or a game like scenario. I thought of Running Man, but I think there's something else, and I'm just not seeing it. Maybe Mad Max Thunderdome, a little bit, not much.
No, that was just them fighting.
That was just
Gladiators. Yeah.
Yeah.
This isn't Gladiators. This is let me climb over the acid while the metal car chases you. So
I immediately thought Running Man. It was the only thing that really came to mind.
It's the closest thing I can think of. So that's a good matchup. And that's the scene where they first see that, and Winston's like, we've come a long way from Saturday Night Football. Says, how do you know what that is? They have broadcast television anymore? You guys have sex bots. You're not watching football.
Did he say Saturday Night Football? Was that his exact line?
Yeah.
Or was it Sunday Night Football?
No, Monday night. Monday night.
Okay.
Because I don't know what's what because I don't watch that
Well,
shit.
no, because Monday Night Football and Sunday Night Football, are kind of like the two big days. Monday night is like the famous one because it's like
I wrote it down. He said Monday Night Football.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, which was huge in the 70s and the 80s. So,
right. So they bump into one of the losers from the pirate train, and they decide that they're going to break out the slaves. They still call them slaves. Hey, and use them to
fancy term for
as
that.
a distraction. What?
No fancy term for that. It's just slave.
No, I just that's that I believe the Monday Night Football. What the fuck? That yeah. And they decided to use that as a distraction while they save the Go-Go's, and while they're doing that, and by the way, I actually even giggled a bit during that sequence because at this point I've given up. I'm like I'm in for the ride. So when Winston is like planning the bombs, hey, what are you doing there? It's like I'm planning a bomb, you idiot, and runs away. It's just like okay, and then Wolf's like playing with the bomb next to the other guys. Hey, good game, eh? Can you hold this for me? And then he sets it off. All right, I'm having fun. And then, are you a fan of Whose Line Is It Anyway?
Of course. Yep.
The
original, and I thought the newer rendition was pretty good too. Who?
You remember Colin Mockery?
Yeah, he was the tall, skinny guy, right?
No, that was Ryan Stiles, the other one, the bald guy.
Ah, yes, that guy. Yes.
He was one of the two guys that kidnapped, the guards that kidnapped Molly Ringwald.
Get out of here! Really?
He's the first one she
that
bumps
guy?
into. He's the and I remember even as a kid watching this, I recognized him immediately. It's like that's Colin Mockery. That's the one thing I remember that from this too. But she bumps into him first, and then the other one, and she's like, "Oh, you guys got any candy or whatever?" And then Colin Mockery grabs her arm and says, "You can ask the chemist." and after this is done, I'm so tweeting that to Colin Mockery. Just have to.
Yeah.
How many times do you think people bring that up to him? I saw you in Spacehunter. God damn it! I've got a mask on, for God's sake.
You gotta have the chemist line in there too. You gotta work that in there somehow.
Said, yeah. I was going to respond to him and say, "You can ask the chemist," and see what he responds. It'd be great. But it's all kind of downhill after that. They make Molly Ringwald run the death maze. Yep. She wins. Michael Ironside grabs her
with help.
What?
With help.
A little help. She got pretty far before that.
She did get pretty far, but she was gonna lose and then got help.
Well, she got to the part where they're basically cheating.
Yeah.
And then help. And then Michael Ironside's like, "I lied. I'm going to suck your soul." And he grabs her and takes her to the
because
weird
before he
tunnel.
puts her in the maze, he says, "If you win, you get to leave." And then she pretty much wins. He's like, "Yeah, I lied. Fuck you."
Yeah. It's actually it's a punchline. It's not even worth the setup. It's that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And so he takes her and straps her in front of a time tunnel, and then stays on the other side of the room. So I'm going to drain your soul. And she's like, "Okay, just let me go." And Wolf comes and saves the day. He electrocutes Michael Ironside. They save the girls.
Which like how Overdog gets beaten. It's like I said earlier, how the fuck is he the ruler of anything? He's like strapped into this machine. It's just like, as long as they're faster than the machine, you probably can beat the fucking guy.
Well, I guess because he's in cahoots with the chemist who has the cure or whatever,
Well,
so he
it's
kind of
like, how come
controls who can
the
live.
chemist doesn't fucking kill Overdog and he rules everything. It didn't.
I like how
What?
I like how Wolf kills the chemist. He just grabs a random tube on him and squeezes it, and the chemist is like,
That's right. It was like on his like right shoulder.
it's like, this is the guy he was afraid was? It's
It looked like he jacked him off because the way it squirted out. It was like, is that where that ended up? Ended up there?
That better be beer. It's like, one thing.
He just grabbed it and squeezed it. It just popped like a pimple. It was just like.
I even like the subtle, as Wolf runs away, to subtle, like the hands, like, ugh.
It's gross.
But that's why, because, it's and again, it's a shell game. You
yeah.
exude power.
So
and he had the giant hand claws. After he killed the first 10 people with the giant hand claws, people are like, yeah, you know what? Yeah, you can run the show.
It's just not fast enough. It's just so slow.
I'm not going up. It was fast enough to grab Molly Ringwald.
Yeah.
And Wolf. Hey, it was fast enough to grab Wolf.
That's because Wolf was fucking slacking.
Yeah, it was.
Just like,
Yeah,
give me a
I blew it
break.
up.
So
I
then
fixed it.
he blows him up, like you said. Electrocutes him. Then he, like, explodes. Saves the 3 chicks. Ernie Hudson and him share the money. And then Molly Ringwald starts crying.
They blow up the whole Pleasure Dome.
Yeah, yep.
Everybody dies. They kill off everybody.
Everyone's dead.
Yeah, everyone's dead. So I hope the slaves got out of there instead of just like ransacking the place.
No, they didn't.
I don't think so either.
No, they don't. No.
I don't think everyone. I don't even know if those. I don't. It's just
so
much death. So much death.
What's funny is the Wolf and Ernie Hudson, Winston's character. We keep calling him Winston. That's not his name in the movie, but
no.
They're obviously getting the money for saving them, and the 3 chicks could care less. They're like, "Thank you so much," and they're all laughing and having drinks, and it's like, this is wonderful. And then Molly Ringwald, like an angsty teen, storms out, and basically gives him a guilt trip of you didn't even ask me to go with you. It's like, yeah, that's the fucking point. I've been alone for a long time. I like it that way. I had a sex bot for that very reason. And then, of course, he basically like adopts her, and then the credits roll and the movie's over.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is the kind of movie where they might have a scene at the end of the credits. And I went all the way to the end, and they didn't have anything.
Yeah, he adopts her like Jerry Seinfeld. Yeah. Yeah, and I remember I'm watching that scene. It's like, oh yeah, that's touching. He's adopting his 14-year-old girl.
At some point.
Hold on, I'm in the middle of a sentence.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Literally. I'm watching that scene where they're hugging, and all I can think is, all right, how long until they're alone in space and he decides to sex her?
I was just going to say that. I was going to say I'd give it about 3 years before he fucks her.
Years?
Yeah.
This guy used to have a sex spot on hand. After they drop off the Go-Go's and Ernie takes a hike, and it's just the two of those, how long in space until he's like, yeah, you know what? I'm missing something here. The sex spot.
Yeah.
Molly, get over here.
You said you were a woman, right? You bleeding yet? Oh, that's
wow. No, that's totally uncool. I don't know if I can support that. There was the one part there.
It's shocking on purpose. It was obviously made to garner a reaction.
Yeah, there's one part there when he was arguing with her, and he said, I don't plan on spending the next 200 years babysitting. I was like, 200 years?
Yeah, I know. I do remember that scene. It's like, what the fuck?
Is he just exaggerating, or is like life expectancy a lot longer out there?
But it's only 2136.
That's what I'm saying.
It's not that far into the future where life expectancy has almost doubled.
I mean, Michael Ironside's been there for that many years, and he's got to suck people through a time tunnel just to stay alive with his pincers and his bellows. I mean, what? A normal person can't be lasting that long.
I know.
I just
200 years, he said. Which, it made it sound like 200 years from that point, which would mean you could live up to like 230 years or so.
Who are you, Moses? Come on.
Got to part the Red Sea there.
Yeah, he parted the Red Sea.
Also known as Molly Ringwald.
see, I implied it, and then you described it. So
because it just immediately made it funnier.
No, it immediately made it worse because you spelled it out. I'm like, yeah, he's gonna part that Red Sea, and you're like, yeah, he's gonna rape Molly Ringwald. No, back it up.
And do you
now
see
it's not funny.
Do you see the back and forth that we now have? That's what makes the show great. Don't deny it.
That's what makes it admissible evidence too. That's all.
Wow.
That's all I'm gotta say.
That's enough of that. What the fuck was it? You rapping in your spare time?
It's my squeezy brain.
Oh, okay. Is that the one my boys got you?
No, I've had this for years.
Oh.
No, this is the one your boys got me.
Oh, that's the one that's supposed to look like you have the plague in your hand when you squeeze it.
No, this is my thinking brain. I've had this for quite a while.
Great.
Yeah, so I mean, I gotta say, I ended up liking the film at the end, just because it had a reckless abandon to us. Yeah, we're just gonna throw fucking everything at it. Michael, we're gonna put claws on you, okay? And the fact they put the bellows on the front,
right?
You know, they could have just put them up with metal and like, nah, put a bellows on there. Let's steampunk this shit. They were steampunking it before steampunk was a thing.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So this was, in my opinion, and I think you'll agree with me, this is one of those good bad films. You know, one of those.
I think so.
Like this would have been a great bad movie day, like show at one of our bad movie day events, where we had a bunch of people over the house. We show a movie outside. People over, food, drinks. Everyone has a great time. This would have been a perfect candidate for a bad movie day. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. It could be a future bad movie day. I'd watch this again with a bunch of people. I think that would go over really well, to be completely honest.
Hey, good breeding, man.
I could also sell it to them. This is an 80s film with Molly Ringwald. And then everyone would be like, really? And
that's all I have to say.
And then I'd start the film, and it's like, well, I'm not lying. So...
No.
All right, so the film...
What do you want to rate this?
It's currently sitting at 5.4.
Right.
And I would be okay if we gave this a 5. I don't think I could go higher than a 5. Higher than a 5 would denote that it's good. It's
a strong 5, though.
Yeah, well, I think 5.4 is, or 5.5 is pretty appropriate.
If you could do 5.5, which in that case, just do 20 stars. Don't make me do fucking halves.
Well, that's true. But yes, if you could do half stars, then I would give this a 5.5.
I think 6 is overstating it too much, but I think 5, the film has enough reckless abandon.
Agreed.
Without descending into camp. I think it successfully pulled off a humor aspect without getting campy.
You know, it's funny. I'm looking at the IMDb ratings. No one under the age of 18 has reviewed this movie.
Of course they haven't.
In all categories, no one under the age of 18. It's like, oh my God, like not a single vote.
I gave it 5 stars.
Perfect. All right, good sir.
Oh.
This is movie challenge time.
All right, you said you had 2.
I have 2. Now, one.
I have 2 as well.
Okay, one is a actor connection, which is Ernie Hudson.
Yeah.
And that's Penitentiary.
Really?
Penitentiary 2.
What?
Penitentiary 2, where Ernie Hudson plays the main villain in that film. And that's the poster, or not the poster. That's the film shot that I put up on our Moviesucktastic page, where it said Penitentiary 2, and then in parentheses underneath it said funky music, because the film opens up with and then it opens up with the title Penitentiary 2, and it's like bow, 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 and it says funky music if you have the subtitles.
Oh, the subtitles?
On. Yeah.
Like that.
It says funky music.
I tell you, I love watching movies with subtitles now, the stuff they put in there.
Oh, yeah. So that is an especially bad movie. Like, obviously, it was trying to garner the success from the Rocky films, and the first Penitentiary film was actually a quasi success. So, but the second film is so fucking bad.
I see Mr. T's in it.
Yeah. Oh, dude. He's like this genie guy, and there's scenes in the movie where he rubs this lamp and like fucking purple smoke comes out of it. It's fucking, dude, it's crazy weird. Dude, I'm not kidding. If you don't take that as the challenge, watch it on your own. I
wasn't sold on it until you mentioned Mr. T as a genie. Though, all right,
like he's not
it
like
beats the fuck out of Will. It beats the shit out of Will Smith,
which they can't fucking stop posting. It's like enough already. He's not like a real genie. He dresses like one and walks around with a fucking a lamp and rubs it and shit, and smoke comes out of it. It's fucking weird.
Are we talking Mr. T or Will Smith?
Mr. T.
Okay.
Yeah, because Mr. T is also a boxing coach in this movie. But he's like considered... Yeah, dude, it's really fucking bad. And then one of the announcers was in a film called Union City, as in Union City, New Jersey. And he's like, there's a part in there where he just keeps yelling into the camera, I believe! I believe! And then you don't see him saying it, but you just see his body, like his body language from a far distance while they're boxing. And you just hear in the background, I believe. Like, you must say it like 15 times in the scene. And the way they do it is they're boxing and they're making it like it's this huge televised event. And it's obviously a ring set up like in a VFW. It's really, really bad. It's a really bad movie. So that's my one challenge. It's a direct actor connection with Ernie Hudson. He's in that film.
All right.
But the film, if I was challenging you, the film I would pick, I gotta go Ice Pirates. Also a horrible 80s film, but one of those like good, bad 80s films, because I remembered loving that movie in the 80s. It came out in 84. But if I was challenging to you, and if it was the other way around, I would absolutely be challenging you to Ice Pirates.
All right, it's Ice Pirates.
Well, what were the two you were thinking of?
I did a Michael Ironside
connection
split. It was either Highlander 2 or Scanners.
No,
Highlander
2 is awful. It is awful.
The minute you said Ice Pirates, it's like, oh yeah, it's a perfect challenge. Yeah,
gotta go fucking Ice Pirates, and we've never done it on the show, so
no.
I mean, I have notes for it though, somewhere.
I remember loving that film as a kid. I can tell you, I only remember 3 things from it, and all of them were not for children.
Yeah, the rain scene, the rain sex scene.
I don't remember that.
That was the one where they go in the simulated scene where it's got like in the background where the clouds and everything, and they're having sex and in the rain.
Don't remember it.
The clamp thing, like going at their crotches.
The eunuch.
Yes.
Eunuch. I remember that.
And the black dude with like gray hair for some reason.
The afro. Yeah, because they do time travel stuff at the end.
Those are my most vivid things. Oh, and Ron Perlman.
Don't remember Ron Perlman in it.
He is so short. Like because he's like Hellboy and stuff, and he looks like he's like super tall and all of that. And he's in all these action movies where he's like all like ripped and stuff, and he always looks like tall and menacing. In Ice Pirates, he is like almost looks like a little person compared to everyone else in some of these scenes. Like, I'm not kidding. And I'm like, is this on purpose? Did they make him look short on purpose, or is he really this short? So I looked it up, He's not very tall. I think he's like 5'10", 5'11" or something. So I was just like, wow. I think he's under 6 foot.
No, he's short.
Oh, that's a different guy. That's Ronnie Perlman.
Joey.
There it is, Ron Perlman. Full bio. See, his bio says that he's 6'1". That has to be a lie. The dude is only like an inch and a half shorter than me. I mean, that's like, there's no way he's 6'1".
Tweet him that. I follow him because he's very vocal on political stuff.
Oh yeah, he's great.
There's like, say, dude, I just watched Ice Pirates. No way you're 6'1".
Frequently has a supporting role or cameo in the films of Joe Dante. Really? I never noticed him in any. Like, was he in fucking The Burbs?
I don't remember. No, I don't think so.
I mean, I have to look now.
So next week we're going to be covering the January films, correct?
That is correct.
All right, and then my goal is hopefully that we can review some of those January films during the month of January. No,
not next week. We're gonna have to. Well, we can, but it'd have to be like on a Wednesday, not a Thursday, because we're going to Cape May. Remember, on Thursday.
Oh, that's right. That's right. It's the week after.
So we could do it either the week after or we can do it Wednesday next week, the day after Christmas. That's up to you. I'm available either day.
Oh, pardon me. Yeah, me too.
So we could figure that out. It'll either be Wednesday or it'll be like January 3rd.
Okay.
Which I don't believe a January film will have been released at that point yet.
No, it shouldn't be. Yeah, so we can jump right on that.
So if I just take a quick look at the release schedule.
No, don't. Well,
full December,
the first
full
weekend
January.
is after the first is a Tuesday, so that kind of sums it up.
So the first film being released in January is Friday the 4th. Our show would be on January 3rd, the day before.
Right.
So it would be perfect.
So yeah, I agree.
So let's do that.
Okay.
And I'll have trailers for all this stuff, and we'll watch and listen to these trailers with everybody. Get flagged by YouTube for sure. It's like, fuck you. It's like, come on, man. We're helping you sell this shit. It's free advertisement.
We're playing your commercials for you. The commercials, you maybe watch a commercial before I can watch.
Yeah, exactly.
You fuckers. That's it. And I think we're ready to wrap up.
I think I'm just going to rip them so we don't have to watch. Well, you will, because you're going to watch it on YouTube. But anyway, we'll figure that out later. Oh, boy. What episode was this? 288.
Bam.
All right. So, as always, thank you everyone for joining us. Episode 288 of Moviesucktastic. 12 episodes away from our 300th episode, which that would put us somewhere in, let's see, March-ish? Like right around the Oscars or like right after the Oscars. Wouldn't it be great if our 300th episode was our live Oscar show?
We'll see what we can do.
That would be cool. Go to our website at moviesucktastic.com. Download the show, listen to the show, tune in live every Thursday at 8 o'clock, and hang out with us while we review a film. We definitely would love to hear from you. There are 2 ways to do that. You can email us. The address is themovieguys@moviesucktastic.com. Or... that's okay. Or you can leave us voicemail, which we will play on the show as long as... Well, we'll play it on the show. It's 908-514-4470. 908-514-4470. You can also go to our iTunes, and you can download the show there. You can listen to it, and while you're there, give us a review. We always appreciate that. You can also go to our Facebook page at facebook.com/moviesucktastic. We post everything, trailers, movie news, when we go live. Just about everything that we post goes there. You can go to our Tumblr page as well. That's moviesucktastic.tumblr.com. And there's the free Android app, which Well, it's free and everything I said is in there, but don't give me that look. It's coming. Don't worry, it's happening. I'm on vacation for the next week and a half. I will have time to look at it.
I'll remind you tomorrow.
Okay, that's fine. So, and that about does it. Do you have any words of wisdom, Mr. Wilson?
Good breeding, man.
When did the first words of wisdom come about? Have we ever pinpointed that to an episode?
You know what? I was just thinking about that today. It's like, how do we get to that thing? I don't know.
I ask you at the end of every episode, and it seems like I've been doing it for a couple of hundred episodes at least.
Yeah. I must have, like, I don't know.
I'm wondering if maybe at the end of an episode you said, I have some words of wisdom, and I just took the ball and ran with it. And now I just ask you every week. Something like that.
Because there's nothing we discussed. It just started happening.
No.
Yeah.
It definitely just started happening. It's like pinpointing the Romper Room episode. That was finally
we
pinpointed.
found at one point.
It was like in the first 50 episodes somewhere.
Yeah. Because Holly almost had to pull off the road when she heard that.
We should find out when. And that would actually be easy, because all we got to do is listen to the very last 2 minutes of every episode. And then it's like, oh, I started asking you in, I don't know, episode 20.
Yeah. I keep meaning to go back and re-listen to all of them, so...
Well, here's the problem. We got a lot of fucking episodes. I mean...
Yeah.
If you really break it down, as far as what we do and what we review and all that, we're one of the longest lasting podcasts. Really. Dude, we're going...
That's because
and we can't fucking end the show without the music fading out.
Well, when you keep rambling on, yeah.
I know. We're going into our 10th year. We're like a week away from heading into year 10 of this.
I feel old enough as it is. You don't need to do that to me.
I'm sorry. I love you. You know I do. All right, everybody. We'll talk to you next week. Bye-bye.
No, week after.
See? And you do that. That's what you do.
But it
doesn't matter, because when they listen to it, it doesn't matter, because the next episode comes right up. It could be 6 months later.
It's dated. If they listen to this the day after it comes out, and a week later they'll be like, "Where the fuck's the show?" Just next episode.
I'm not going to stop saying what I say. I've been saying it for almost 300 episodes. I can't.
And you've been wrong almost every time.
All right. Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye. See you next episode.
Oh, fuck you.